So I'm currently around halfway through the story of Immortals Fenyx Rising, and so far, let me start off this review by saying that I am really enjoying what I've seen and done up to this point. This game delivers on something that I've been waiting for the last 3 years or so, and that is more Breath of the Wild. And yes, I wanted to get this out of the way early because the comparisons are being made, and they are very obvious. This game does borrow heavily from Breath of the Wild, both with the story beats and mechanically. However, this isn't just a Breath of the Wild clone like some may have stated. It does offer much of what Zelda gave us, but sprinkles in its own mix of charm, humor, and story to give a whole new experience while still feeling very familiar.
Typhon is free. You need my help. Let the tale of Fenyx be my redemption.
Oh no, not another of your boring stories. How long is this going to take?
We begin with a meeting between Zeus and Prometheus as the god of thunder attempts to gain Prometheus' aid in the battle against the evil Typhon. A wager is struck between them that if a mortal can be the one to defeat Typhon, Prometheus will be set free from his endless punishment. Prometheus then uses his power of foresight to tell the story of the titular character Fenyx, who is a mortal shield bearer in the Greek army. After waking up on a beach alone and seeing that Fenyx's fellow mortals have been turned to stone, you are eventually tasked with traveling across the distinct landscapes of the Golden Isles, freeing the essences of 4 Greek gods to help you undo the chaos that has been brought to the world. That final sentence probably sounds somewhat familiar. Well, the big difference here compared with Nintendo's masterpiece, and something I really enjoy, is the way in which this story is told. The humorous interactions between Fenyx and the cast of characters that you meet along your journey, as well as between the narrators themselves, is not only very well written in terms of conjuring a wry smile here and there, but also incredibly educational when it comes to the stories of Greek mythology. Prepare yourself to learn of creation myths, past accomplishments of gods, and family lineages in an amazingly unique way of mixing these tales seamlessly into entertaining dialogue and story progression. That's something that I give Ubisoft Quebec a big round of applause for. This is the same studio which developed Assassin's Creed Odyssey, and you can tell. Immortals Fenyx Rising shares a lot of the same aesthetics as Odyssey, and also has all of the iconic hallmarks of a typical Ubisoft experience. It's very much in the same vein as the new RPG style Assassin's Creed games, in the way that you climb something to reveal part of the map and equip different weapons and armor which give you different stat boosts and buffs. Similarly, again to Assassin's Creed, you can upgrade the gear that you find in chests around the map, and the upgrade system, for me, is another big positive to this game. Rather than upgrade each piece of gear individually, weapons and armors are grouped together, and it's the group that gets upgraded each time. Again, in typical Ubisoft style, there are map markers placed all over the vast open world to explore and collect. However, in Immortals, it's a much less laborious task to find them, as a majority of the markers consist of challenges or vaults to complete for materials, which are then used to upgrade your gear, moving away from the typical go here and collect an essentially useless trinket, then move on to the next one that we've seen from Ubisoft games in the past. And as far as getting around, traversing this world map is honestly really fun. There's nothing revolutionary about the climbing and gliding mechanics. Again, we've seen this before, but it's very simple and it's very easy to master. In terms of combat mechanics, you're given a sword for light attacks, axe for heavy attacks, and a bow, each easily interchangeable on the fly, which allow for some really nice combos once you get used to how things work. There's a nice dodge and parry function too, which can block attacks and reflect projectiles back at long range enemies. But stand out, the best mechanic available for combat is the animation cancelling. There are some people out there that have major problems with animation cancelling in some video games, but in the case of Immortals Fenyx Rising, I am certainly not one of them. Being able to change my attack or dodge incoming attacks halfway through a different animation makes the combat in this game flow smoothly, and most importantly, it's fun. The main quest markers are marked on the map and naturally take you around portions of the world, so you don't necessarily need to go out of your way to explore too much, which is nice for those who like to get in and out with the story and not concentrate too much on the exploration side of things. I'm someone who likes to explore game worlds to their fullest though, and something I like is that as you explore, you naturally run into side quests. There's no markers for these quests, you'll just stumble across an area and a quest will pop up for you to complete somewhere in your vicinity. It's a very nice touch and it encourages that further exploration that players who stick to the main quest possibly won't even encounter. One thing that I did come across that I didn't like too much was some of the boss encounters felt a little underwhelming once finished. The fights themselves are good. I'm playing on the highest difficulty and some of these boss and mini boss battles for me are quite challenging, especially when underpowered. So when I do finish one, I'd like a little bit more. A little distinct cutscene maybe would have gone a long way. Although sometimes we do get a comment from the narrators, but it's still a little bit underwhelming. For the art style in Immortals Fenyx Rising, it's an almost cartoony version of Assassin's Creed Odyssey. My setup is an Intel Xeon E5 with 16GB of RAM, and I seem to be able to run this game at the highest settings with no real performance problems for 95% of the game so far. There have been some areas with quick frame drops, but that only seemed to happen very, very rarely. There is an option in the graphic settings for an adaptive graphic setting which will change between ultra, medium, high, low based on what will bring about the best performance at that time, which I find a really nice touch and something that I've not seen too often in other games. Now, as with any Ubisoft title, there is monetization and microtransactions present here, and although I only agree with monetization in a game I have to pay for in very specific situations, I feel that based on current trends of microtransactions, that Immortals does reasonably well on that front. There is a season pass right now, which offers 3 extra adventures and promises to deliver more content in the future, so that will be something to keep an eye on when more content becomes available. And of course, there is the Ubisoft Store. Now, everything I've seen so far in the Ubisoft Store can be acquired in-game through live, sometimes daily, weekly tasks which reward an in-game currency called Electrum. The rewards are on a timer as well, and it looks as though they'll rotate in and out every few days or so. So I guess it is technically possible to unlock everything in the store through gameplay eventually. From what I've seen, anything that you can buy in the store with real money is purely cosmetic, and there are no time savers as well, which is very refreshing to see that Ubisoft may be learning their lesson on those. Overall, I want to praise this game for teaching me more about Greek mythology than Assassin's Creed Odyssey did, and for giving me a more traditional take on the stories than I saw in Hades, even with that similar humour on show. Immortals definitely will give you a great time, but most importantly, when you consider some of the complaints with Assassin's Creed Odyssey, it will give you a well-paced, much shorter experience that's filled with challenge and adventure. I really hope this is the direction that Ubisoft are moving forward with its franchises, as for me, it makes for a much better all-round experience and a huge improvement on the typical cut and paste, almost reskin offerings that they've presented us over the last few years. Pick up a copy of Immortals Fenyx Rising, it's well worth your time. Well, thank you all for sticking with me for the first ever video game review on this channel. I am hoping to do some more in the future, so if you have enjoyed it, don't forget to hit that subscribe button so you can keep up to date whenever a brand new video goes live. Also, hit that like button to show some support to the channel. I need all the support I can get at this moment in time. And you can find me streaming live on Twitch every Monday, Wednesday and Friday every single week, so come and join me there as well. Also leave a comment if you didn't like the video so much, just letting me know how I can improve in the future to make this a much more enjoyable experience for you. Other than that guys, that's it for me today. Thank you all very much for watching, and I'll catch you next time.